The impact that John Paul II had on me today on Catholic Breakfast. So late in October, I think it's October 22nd, that's the feast day of St. John Paul II, our late great Pope. Man, he had a huge impact on me. I remember when I was 21, my roommate in college gave me George Weigel's book, Witness to Hope, which is the biography of John Paul II. Just reading his life, especially the younger years in his life, impacted me so much. I think it was John Paul II's desire to live his life under God's providence. He would always ask himself, what's God doing in my life and how can I respond to that? And something about that I found so adventurous, so exciting. And I think I really wanted to see my life that way. And to this day, that has a strong impact on me. I'm sure that John Paul II's example in that way made me open to considering being a priest in my life. Some of the experiences that I had at John Paul II personally, I'll just mention two of them. One, I was in Rome for World Youth Day in the year 2000, and it was at the Circus Maximus in Rome. There's hundreds of thousands of people out in this open field, and John Paul II's driving around, and I remember running out ahead of the Pope Mobile where he's up on top. I was sort of jogging backwards as he was coming closer. I don't remember if he was like looking at me. I felt like I was the only person in the field, and it's this man, John Paul II, the Pope, the successor of Peter, and here I am as this, nobody college student, and yet we're kind of running together. Maybe that sounds a little silly or cheesy or something, but for me what it meant was this man is accompanying me on the journey of my life. He's helping me go somewhere. And little did I know that would lead to the priesthood in my own life. The second memory I have of John Paul II that impacted me so much was, fast forward 3 years later, I'm a seminarian. I did a pilgrimage to Rome. I wanted, with some other buddies, ask God's blessing on our lives as we started to study theology. And John Paul II was giving one of his addresses, and he was talking about Psalm 110, which is the Psalm on the priesthood, the order of Melchizedek and all that. What struck me, though, was not so much the words that he said that night, although the talk was beautiful. It was his own suffering. So he was racked by Parkinson's. He's in this wheelchair thing, and he would visibly wince in pain as he would kind of shuffle through the text that he was giving. He could have had someone else give the talk, but he wanted to say the words. I remember there were some Polish women in front of me openly weeping at the example of this man. And he was talking about the priesthood and how priests are meant to live lives of heroic suffering as a particular manifestation of Christian life. He was doing it right in front of us. It was just utterly powerful. It was filled with awkward moments, but he wasn't ashamed. You could tell he was not ashamed of what he was suffering. So anyway, as we celebrate John Paul II, I'd love to hear from you about what some of your experiences of him, either from afar or personal experiences of John Paul II's role in your life. But for me, I'm so grateful to God for the role that this heroic man and heroic Pope played in my own life. Let's ask his intercession in our lives that we can see God's providence in our own lives as we run with the Lord in our lives, but also that we may not be afraid of suffering and of weakness, which always reveals God's love to the world in a powerful way.